Hi, this is Sally's Book Club. Tune in daily for global literary gems, handpicked just for you. I'm Fania, a professor of Spanish language and literature at Peking University. I translated 100 Years of Solitude by Nobel laureate Gabriel García Márquez. Today, we'll explore the autobiography of this literary giant. In part 1 of Living, to tell the tale, we'll discuss the memoir's context and the author's life stories. To be precise, this is actually just the first volume of his autobiography. It spans from his birth in 1927 to his departure for Europe in 1955. This memoir serves as resistance against oblivion. The shadow of memory loss haunted his final years. It's heartbreaking to imagine what this meant for a master storyteller like Garcia Marquez. He feared the death of memory more than physical mortality itself. He repeatedly discussed memory loss with close friends before publishing this memoir in 2002. Jokingly telling family his condition might be hereditary. He raced to write subsequent volumes. In March 2007, Marquez returned to Cartagena, Colombia, a city of profound significance. Here he abandoned law studies and drafted his debut novel Leaf Storm half a century earlier. The city prepared to celebrate his 80th birthday and 100 years of Solitude's 40th anniversary. When his speech concluded, royalty, presidents including Bill Clinton, and the entire audience gave a standing ovation that echoed through time. Few knew the author who invented literary amnesia in his masterpiece felt anxious before the ceremony. He confided to friends, "I fear losing memory like my mother did." Witnesses described him gazing at Cartagena's night sky, where he learned to soar beyond memory's reach through literature. In 2014, I first set foot in Colombia, tracing Marquez's footsteps as documented in his autobiography. During Easter, that Thursday in Cartagena's Plaza Bolivar, I sat unaware that in distant Mexico City, Marquez had just passed away. As I gazed blankly from a park bench, 6 decades prior, a law student slept on these same benches, penniless, getting arrested by midnight police. That student was Gabriel García Márquez. Staring at Bolivar's equestrian statue, I remembered Marquez's childhood worship of this revolutionary hero. Pigeons defecated on the Roman emperor-like head of his armored figure. By 2007, the statue stood pristine under a Caribbean sun, free from avian traces. Raised in this light, young Gabo once fled his Bogotá room, screaming about bed pranksters, mistaking humidity for mischief. Locals dismissed his panic as typical capital weather, though truth remains elusive. My Bogotá arrival experience differed, perhaps due to seasonal variations. Yet the magus of magical realism insisted, no fiction exists without factual roots. The coastal youth's alienation in Andean Bogotá was undeniably real. A sensitive provincial in the rainy highland capital, feeling mocked by sophisticated Bogotanos. Weekends convinced him he alone wandered penniless through the indifferent city. Unbeknownst to me, the 87-year-old had returned to his Macondo, free from mortal burdens. Like the child first witnessing ice at the circus. This very image, an elder showing ice to a child, birthed the entire 100 years of solitude. When Colonel Nicolas Marquez died in March 1937, Garcia Marquez claimed nothing noteworthy happened in his life thereafter. Now reunited with the old colonel, demand his beloved grandson to recount every detail of these 70 years like post-cinema storytelling sessions. Our writer would surely excel, just like the child who perfected his narrative craft. As his autobiography's title declares, Living to Tell the Tale, Part 1 explores the memoir's unique aspects. Biographies vary. My shelf holds over a dozen Marquez studies, from family memoirs to academic analyses, like the Buendia Family Secrets and 4 Years of Solitude. Each biography examines different periods or perspectives. Gerald Martin's definitive biography stands as the most comprehensive. Yet Living to Tell the Tale remains irreplaceable. As autobiography, it's both unique authority on becoming Marquez and, more crucially, a multidimensional chronicle. This book weaves multiple narratives, a writer's coming-of-age, literary influences, friendships, love stories, and Colombian cultural history. Surprisingly, it opens not with birth, but my mother asked me to accompany her to sell the house. Recall Proust's Madeleine moment in Search of Lost Time, where a taste triggers memory's floodgates, unleashing torrents of recollection. Marquez's autobiography begins with its own Madeleine moment returning to his hometown with his mother. The book details the broth awakened dormant memories, childhood flavors unchanged since leaving town, each spoonful piercing my heart. This journey, a 23-year-old returning to his childhood home after 15 years, becomes temporal rather than spatial. A pilgrimage to origins. During their stormy Magdalena River voyage, young Gabo smoked cheap tobacco while rereading Faulkner's Light in August. Faulkner taught him to distill Caribbean essence through sparse language, becoming his literary mentor. His descriptions of tropical landscapes most incorporate literary giants like Faulkner, Shaw, and Conrad. These authors shaped the young writer's development during this formative period. This memoir also chronicles parental disappointment. The eldest of 11 children, abandoning academic expectations to pursue writing. His mother's repeated anxiety. "What should we tell your father?" His defiant response. "Tell him I'll become a writer, nothing else." The memoir's second chapter begins with memory ambiguity. Another masterful narrative feint by Marquez, soon revealing the Banana Massacre historical context. The United Fruit Company brought exploitative capitalism and violence alongside banana trade prosperity. The banana workers' strike ended with military police opening fire. Biographers call the December 6, 1928 massacre the most awful historical crime on Garcia Marquez's life and work. In 100 Years of Solitude, survivor Jose Arcadio wakes on an endless train with corpses stacked like spoiled bananas, ready for ocean disposal. Returning home, he finds collective amnesia. No strike, no shooting, no deaths. Nothing happened in Macondo. He retreats to decipher Melquiades' parchments, entrusting truth-keeping to the sixth generation. Before dying, Aureliano Babylonia, leaves his testament. Remember, over 3,000 thrown to the sea. Actual death toll remains disputed across historical records. Conflicting reports created a Colombian Rashomon from 9 to thousands. My fictional 3,000 death toll eventually became historical fact. The memoir notes. Years later, a senator proposed mourning 3,000 nameless martyrs. Fiction becoming history. The novelist's invention transformed into historical narrative. This paradox reveals fiction's proximity to truth. Recent research shows massacres continued for 3 months. Host December the 6th. The fictional 200-carriage death train, while historically inaccurate, became indelible collective memory. The history in 100 Years of Solitude will ultimately be deciphered by those who refuse to forget. British scholar Gerald Martin aptly noted, this novel explores not history or myth, but the mythology of history. Part 3 examines connections between this autobiography and Marquez's other works through specific examples. Though framed as memoir, Living to Tell the Tale fundamentally explores the author's lifelong inquiry. Nearly every page reveals connections to his fictional works. Recalling a Tuesday noon when the town awoke early. Sleepyheads crowded windows watching a woman in mourning leading a girl carrying withered newspaper, wrapped flowers under black umbrellas, the shot thief's family. Bringing flowers to the thief's grave. This haunting scene became collective memory for all witnesses. Later exercised through his 1962-story Tuesday Siesta, though unnamed here. The memoir reveals Sister Margot's strange diet, refusing food while secretly eating garden soil and wall plaster. She survived on moist earth and limestone, scraped from walls with fingernails. Grandmother smeared cow dung on tempting soil patches and planted chili peppers in flower pots as deterrents. This became Rebecca's pica earth eating in 100 Years of Solitude. The novel describes her relapse during unrequited love. She resumed, eating soil initially from curiosity, believing the awful taste would cure her obsession, but succumbed to growing desire, rediscovering primal satisfaction in native minerals. She hid soil in her pockets, teaching complex embroidery while secretly eating earth, overwhelmed by conflicting emotions. The memoir's key figure, his grandmother, crested tandy animals for sale. Grandfather's emerald-eyed mechanical goldfish resurface throughout his novels. In 100 Years of Solitude, Ursula's candy animals spread insomnia through Macondo. The town sucked on green insomnia roosters and pink insomnia fish until Monday's sleepless dawn. Insomnia morphed into amnesia until Melquiades' memory-restoring elixir. The golden fish, central to Colonel Aureliano Buendia's revolutionary symbolism. The colonel launched 32 failed rebellions. The memoir brims with such vivid details. His mother's childhood party required 72 chamber pots, later stored in Macondo's piss-pot room. This absurdity became fictionalized with enhanced poetic license. The memoir bookends with journeys beginning and ending with travel. On a July-Thursday flight to Paris, he wrote 5 lines to his beloved, adding daringly, "No reply within a month means I stay in Europe forever." The following Thursday brought Mercedes' reply in Geneva, ending the narrative. Readers ache for sequels like serial novel enthusiasts, though history records Mercedes accompanying him to Stockholm and beyond. Living to tell the tale's true subject is literature itself, literature's power to redeem memory. Life isn't the days we live through, but the days we remember and retell.